Okay, it's gonna be my last movie review walking like this for maybe a while. Now, I gotta stay hydrated, guys. I'm getting severe headaches for days after shooting a set of jog vlogs in this heat. I'm getting old. It's a consequence of it. I'm just drinking a shitload of soda right now. I want to tell you about Face Off from 1997. I know I've called Con Air the last of the classic action films. This, I think, came out after, I think, me and my best friend Blaine, when I was living in Oklahoma, before I moved up to the Wichita, Derby, Kansas area. Right as the summer was starting up, we went to go see Con Air in theaters. I think there was a commercial for Face Off during Con Air. This is the last leg in the Nicolas Cage beige Volvo trilogy, starting with The Rock, then Con Air, and now his family. It's there's a beige Volvo in this. Okay, that's all you need to know. So this guy Archer is played by John Travolta. I think he's CIA. Or FBI, I think it's CIA agent. He's after this guy Castor Troy. Pretty cool name there. Like, is this the start of, well, no, I guess it can't be the start of the weird names for Nicolas Cage movies, but this definitely fits the billing, right? Nicolas Cage is Castor Troy. He's got this brother Pollux. They're terrorists. He had killed Archer's son by accident at the beginning of the movie, trying to take out this guy Archer, his nemesis. Has a little bit of remorse for that. It was an accident. But he's just a bad dude. He's got this bomb set to go off in LA. No one knows where it is. Filling up some chick doing some choir singing. And I guess recently his twin 911 pistols were up for sale at an auction. And along with like Marty's hoverboard and Ellen Ripley's flamethrower. I'm wondering if it's a flamethrower from Alien or flamethrower from Aliens. Because if it's a flamethrower from Alien strapped to the pulse rifle, that is as iconic a movie a weapon as there is. That's what I know about that. So, we end up with this situation where something goes wrong. There's agents killed as the Troy brothers are leaving. And there's a plane trying to take off. Archer gets in this helicopter. There's a chase rundown. It's kind of a cool sequence, really. They stop the helicopter by they get a helicopter to land on this plane, try to stop its flaps from going up. Castor's like, move the plane. No, I'm just going to kill the pilot and try this myself. There's a crash. There's crazy action. Directed by John Woo. Not his first American film. Is this after Broken Arrow, maybe? As far as bigger budget American films, even. There's definitely some stylish shots, but it doesn't have the style of a Jerry Bruckheimer production, like Con Air. It doesn't have that. It doesn't really have the same sense of humor. There's some humor, it's just not as good as Con Air humor, okay? Con Air sets a pretty high bar in the equivalency of action for humor. It really does. Hell, there's even a sad song in it that would have got an Oscar if it weren't for a movie called Titanic. How can I get through one night with that? This doesn't have that going for it. The coolest shot in the movie's Nicolas Cage getting out of a car and his jacket like flips up in the wind. And there's a little sound for it. It's like, this is a badass dude. You see a guy get out of a car like that, you know shit's on, right? Well, he gets wounded and he's basically a vegetable, or so they're told. But they need to know where the bomb is. They got to talk to his brother, and he's not getting this information out. I guess there's limitations to how much they can torture him. He's getting sent to some special off-site, black site, whatever they call it, Supermax prison. Ran by the guy who taught Morgan to fight with a stick on The Walking Dead. Who evidently was born bald. Well, shit, it's hot. They got this idea, hey, Travolta, why don't you swap faces? We'll change some other stuff on your body, make you look and sound just like Castor Troy. And then you can talk to his brother and he'll tell you where all the stuff is, how to get rid of it. Yeah, okay, I'm in. Tell my wife, That's the plan. Daughter looks different in every scene. Talks about how she changes her look all the time. And I guess that's what we're going for, right? So he does his face swap. Totally science fiction. We know from the way botched face plants go these days, it totally doesn't turn out like this. This was before face transplants were a thing. You're kind of like, oh, maybe it could happen. Nope. No. So he looks perfectly like him, right? Well, they just have the actors switch roles. It's kind of an interesting plan. Talk about Demolition Man, and it's like, here we have, hey, I don't want to be the bad guy. Fine, you get to play the good guy half the movie. Hey, I want to play the bad guy, kind of, but I also want to be the good guy. Okay, fine, to switch. I think you kind of find that John Travolta plays a better Nicolas Cage than Nicolas Cage plays John Travolta. Because Nicolas Cage is so loony as shit. Whether he's Castor Troy or Sean Archer. Now I remember his name, Sean Archer. There's movies that just scream GIF all over them. And this is one of them. Like, there's scenes, shit, where he's like looking in the mirror, freaking out, making faces and shit. Nicolas Cage ends up getting the face of John Travolta. John Travolta got the information, well, Nicolas Cage. Sean Archer as Castor Troy gets the information he needs in the prison, but doesn't get out because Castor Troy woke up, and he takes Sean Archer's face. Gets the doctor to do that. I guess with a whole team, then has them kill everybody who knows about the swap. Gets taken out. That way, if they try to change any of the shit back, it's not going to work for them, right? So they have that happen. But on top of this, how long am I out here? Shit's sake. On top of all this, you got Castor Troy is run amok as the CIA guy. He's going to take credit for disarming the bomb. He's gonna go straight now, like he gets to be a hero. He's on Time Magazine and shit. He's gonna have a deal cut for his brother. He's got a pretty good scheme here to kind of get out of the business, right? He's gonna live the life of Sean Archer. And eventually, the real Sean Archer, he gets to escape from the prison. He puts together a plan, and it's kind of a cool setup, really. I like how this prison has this magnet boot stuff. They know where everybody is, except when you get in the detention area for fighting. They take the boots off to give you some electroshock treatment. But out of nowhere, he's able to convince a guy to help him escape, even though they had just gotten a fight and shit. That didn't entirely line up, but he manages to escape. I don't know how he even swam ashore. We saw him jump off of this oil rig. They're doubling up as this prison. And you gotta wonder, like, how he even swam ashore. It doesn't really make sense, right? But he comes ashore and he tries to get in touch with his wife, and he's like, hey, test the blood or blood type. Your husband's blood type it's not your husband, believe me. She eventually believes him, and the guy, they've been playing wife and husband, she says that, and it's kind of like the creepiest thing in the world. A guy looking like you do and your wife, right? Twins probably have this problem. Well, the new dad, right? The new Sean Archer, Castor Troy, he's teaching his daughter how to deal with things. Gives her a knife, beats up her boyfriend. There's kind of a memorable scene. You kind of see this weird, him being a better father figure than her actual dad. It's kind of interesting how the movie plays with that. And I think it's one of the more endearing things about the film. You also have this little touch that John Travolta's character, Sean Archer, he does this thing. He greets his family, like, kind of wipes his hand across their face, and as he's not doing that, the wife kind of picks up that things are not as they seem. So that Nicolas Cage is actually hanging out with his pals. They've kind of swapped families here. He learns that, like, Gina Gershon has a basically mute boy that's Castor Troy's son, and he learns of this as Castor Troy, I guess, would have learned about. Oh, who's he? Oh, that's your son. Like, don't you know your son? Like, wouldn't that have been the logical dialogue here? But he's talking about how he plans to get Sean Archer, and he's going to cut his face off. This basically he wants to put it back, right? But Sean Archer knows where this hideout is. He's killing off all of his old past people. He ends up killing off the CIA boss, who's shown to have like a weak heart. He's got a heart condition. And he's like, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and kill this guy because I can be the boss of the CIA, right? So that's what he does. He like hits him and he's like, oh, he had a heart attack. Now I'm the boss. Oh, guess what? There's a funeral. Everybody important to the movie show up at the funeral. Not this guy's family. We're going to have a fight at the funeral. There's going to be doves walking around in the church by the beach. Right? And they have a big shootout. They got guns drawn. Everybody's brought in. It's revealed that Sean Archer isn't who he says he is. It's actually Travolta. At this point, I'm probably just going to say Travolta in Cage. Well, he's pulled... His daughter's slow to catching up with this. Because she's like, hey, the new dad's basically a cool guy, right? This is my dad. He's come around and it's kind of soft retirement. After finally getting rid of this guy who killed my brother. Well... he ends up putting a gun on her, but she escapes, jabs him with the butterfly knife he gave her. So there was some foreshadowing there. You know, it was set up and executed. There was some payoff. Not necessarily foreshadowing, but set up and execution. And they're escaping on boats. There's a nice boat chase, I think really helps to make the movie. You know, the movie does a good enough job with the chases and the shootouts, but it's like these guys can shoot anybody but each other. That was like a big complaint my dad had of this in the day. It's like, wow, they can hit anybody from anywhere with a pistol except each other. And they always have to jump. I can't start shooting you until I jump through a table, until I jump through a window, until I jump through a wall, until I jump out a window. And there's an explosion, you know? They got this boat chase, they're jumping across the boats. It's looking like clear and present danger, except in a sunset. Warmer waters, I guess. But, yeah, I guess Nicolas Cage gets harpooned enough at the end, and he seems to be knocked out. And John Travolta's like, hey, okay, we know the truth now. You're Sean Archer. All right, well, okay, John Travolta's knocked out. Nicolas Cage is okay. You're Sean Archer, right? He's like, yeah, wow, you're calling me by my real name. Cool. The voice chip had changed, so now he sounds like John Travolta. So these are things that happen in the movie, and now it's set up that he's going to have his face changed, but did they really kill off Castor Troy? Don't know. Leaving it open for a sequel that never happened. But both these guys are direct-to-video right now, so they're probably down for it. And you can get them cheap. John Woo, too. He makes his return back home, and he's like, hey, this boy, Gina Gershon, got killed. I'm taking care of the son. She thought I was the actual dad, but now we're adopting Castor Troy's son because he took ours, right? So be a good sister to him, daughter, who now's cleaned up her act. You know, a bit of shock therapy there. Got scared straight into being a good girl. And that's Face Off for you. You know, you could call this the last of the classic action movies, though I feel Con Air is better. There's really not a lot that happens after this, as far as action. I guess you get the big send-off for action films with Bad Boys 2, which just tries to be as epic, end-all, be-all action as there can be. But in the days winding up to Bad Boys 2, you didn't really have a lot of action films, so I would say this is the last of those 90s, that 90s lot, really, where action got the big budget it deserved, the star power, the big opening, all that stuff. I give Face Off 3 out of 4 stars.